At last they arrived at the children's room. "This is my favorite place," said Mrs. Riley. "Please make yourselves at home." "Hey," said Skip, "the fish are afraid of me." "They can read," Amelia Bedelia said. "Your shirt makes them feel like lunch." His shirt has a shark on it. The fishies are scared of the shark. Mrs. Riley went to her desk and picked up a bundle of plastic cards. She removed the rubber band and put it on her wrist. "This is my library jewelry," she said, smiling. Then she gave the cards to Miss Edwards. "Here is a library card for each one of you," said Miss Edwards. "Now you can check out books whenever you like." The whole class cheered. "Remember when we talked about how a library works, chickadees?" asked Miss Edwards. "The library shares these books with everyone in town." "That's right," said Mrs. Riley. "When you check one out, you are taking a turn with it. At our library, your turn lasts 3 weeks. Penny raised her hand. "What if you don't return your book on time?" "Well, you can renew it and get extra time," said Mrs. Riley. "But if you keep it past the due date, you get a fine." That sounded okay to Amelia Bedelia. Getting a fine was not as good as getting an excellent, but it was not as bad as getting a terrible. "We have a few minutes before we head back to school," said Miss Edwards. "Please choose one book and then use your new library card to check it out." "I'd like to check out this chapter book," said Dawn. "Terrific," said Mrs. Riley. "Let's try my finger test." She opened Dawn's book to the first chapter. As she moved her finger across the page, Dawn read each word out loud. "Wonderful," said Mrs. Riley. "This is a perfect book for you. Now, does anyone need help?" Mrs. Riley showed them where to find the chapter books and picture books. She showed them where to find books about famous people, and books about animals, and books by their favorite authors. Mrs. Riley even showed them a special shelf of audiobooks. "These are for kids who like to read with their ears," she said. Amelia Bedelia decided that she wanted to learn to read with her eyes first. With so many books, it was hard for Amelia Bedelia to choose just one. She held up her finger, shut her eyes, and twirled around and around. Aha! The winner of her finger test was on the top shelf. "Those are for the older kids," said Mrs. Riley. "They're over your head." "I know," said Amelia Bedelia. "That's why I need help." "Come with me," said Miss Riley. "I bet you'll like these books better. They're exactly at your level." Mrs. Riley was right. Amelia Bedelia could reach them all. She chose a book about cupcakes and got in line behind Teddy. "Hey, Amelia Bedelia," said Teddy. "Which one should I get?" "Yeah!" yelled Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Riley raised both eyebrows. "Sorry," said Amelia Bedelia. "I thought Tyrannosaurus Rex was going to bite off my nose." "I can't wait to read this to my little brother," said Teddy. He handed his other book to Amelia Bedelia. "Here," he said, "check this one out." Amelia Bedelia opened the book slowly and carefully. No teeth, no scales, no dinosaurs, This one was about clouds and the weather. Next, said Thomas B. I'm just checking this out, said Amelia Bedelia. Looks interesting, said Thomas B. May I see it? Along with your library card? Amelia Bedelia handed him both. Beep. Here you go, said Thomas B. It's due back in 3 weeks.